Hey, Sugarfoot. Welcome to another episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast, hosted by your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. If this is your first time in the pool of mayhem, welcome, boo. Come on in, the water is fine. But just to put you up on game since it's your first time here, the Melanin Mayhem podcast dives feet first into some of the most heinous, diabolical, and sometimes downright negacious crimes committed by some melanated baddies that you may have never heard about. And that's a crime in and of itself, because not knowing about these shenanigans has us out here thinking that there are some crimes that black people don't commit. And that's some bullshit, honey. My personal mission in life is to make sure that you and your peoples know that black people commit all kinds of crimes, been committing all kinds of crimes, and hopefully now that you know, you will be on the lookout so you don't end up a victim. And to my most favorite people in the world, well, that is outside of my kids, my grandbaby, and my man, y'all know they get jealous, right? The lovely members of the newer nation. Hey, Booka Wookas. I know I say it all the time, but I missed y'all so much this week. Oh my God. Man, life has been lifing for real, honey. Got the country girl taking body blows, not literally. Please, ain't nobody beating on the country girl. But I'm saying life been giving me an uppercut and a two-piece with a biscuit this week, boy. But woo, let me tell you something, honey. When I was feeling low and couldn't find my way, man, I just started looking at y'all posts and y'all reviews. And your words, they gave me the strength to just get up and get back in the ring and figure out a way to make some shit happen. I love y'all so much. Oh, my God, I love y'all. My poodle woodles, I appreciate each and every one of y'all loving on me the way that y'all do. Honey, kisses and hugs all around. But okay, enough of that love fest stuff. We got some shit to do and some shit to talk about. Okay, so this week I wanted to switch it up a little bit. Y'all know I have so many stories, and sometimes there's just not a lot of meat on the bone, you know? And just because there isn't a lot of background information enough to do a full hour podcast on, I mean, just because we don't have background, that crime, that criminal, and the rundown of what the fuck, that shit is still important and needs to be shared. So you know me, I group 2 or 3 together and give you a full episode, and that's exactly what I did today. Today we need to talk about the youngsters, y'all. I'm just being real, because they ain't just started jumping off the porch in the 2000s. They little young asses, much like black people in general, been shenanigan out here for a minute or two, too. And in some cases, I'm going to tell you, they just young and dumb, like our first story. But in other cases, they young, calculating, and deadly, like the mayhem maker in our second story. So go ahead, get comfortable, or settle in to work, however you listening to me today, because, baby, the country girl got some good shit for you today by the youngins. So, bringing their little young asses to the front of the congregation. This week's Melanin Mayhem makers are Marvin Jennings and Donnie Blankenship, a.k.a. Dumb and Dumber. And our second story, the Melanin Mayhem maker, is Miss Sharon Carr, a.k.a. the Devil's Daughter. Ooh, shit. All right, let's go ahead and jump right on in, shall we? So picture it. It's 10 p.m. Friday night, Labor Day weekend, September 4th, 1987. And the employees of the National Supermarket in St. Louis, Missouri, on the north side off Natural Bridge, well, you know, everybody ready to call it a night and get their holiday on. It's about 7 employees in the front of the store, 6 men, 1 woman, doing their close-up shit. You know, counting down the registers, cleaning up, stocking, whatnot, you know, the normal grocery store closing procedures. Well, at about 10:30, though, the holiday was canceled because one of the employees got a gun to his dome. Ooh, this is not good makings for a holiday weekend, honey. Oh, no. So the robber, he's making the manager open the safe. Now, the manager, he's scared and he can't get the combination right. So the robber socks a cashier in the nose. Just boop, right to her nose just to give him a little motivation to do better. And guess what? This robber ain't the only gun on the scene. Oh no, Trigger Man brought a friend with him. And after they got into the safe, they laid everybody down in that bitch. Well, maybe you thinking that this was just a robbery and the robbers that's robbing will grab some cash and dip on out that thing, right? Nope, not this time. Honey, the robbers flipped the script and turned into some killers. Yeah, a few minutes after making everybody get down, they started letting them bullets fly. 8 shots to the back of the heads of the employees on the ground. But the store manager, man named Harold Mayer, now he's seeing what's happening, and I don't know exactly what his order was in the shooting of it all, but when it came to be his time to catch that lead, he kind of turned his head and squinched it down a little bit and covered it with his hands. He still got shot. Now, I mean, make no mistake. I mean, he was in the line for the hot lead. But, instead of the bullet going into his brain, he was shot in his hand, the side of his face, and in his side. Dude is alive. Thank you, Jesus. And he realizes that if he want to stay that way, he need to play dead real good. And so he did. Now, at this point, the shooter has run out of bullets. And so that's why the shooting stopped. But one of the employees on the ground is a security guard. And he got a gun on his dead body. So the robbers, they scoop up the security guard's gun and commence to shooting some more. Buddy that's playing dead, he took another bullet, but he managed to stay quiet and not move. Now, Lord, honey, let me tell you something. That's some serious acting there. Hot lead hurt. I ain't never had none. I think the closest I've had is a BB, and that shit hurt too. Honey, to lay there and not make a sound. I hope I don't never find myself in this type of situation. But if I do, I hope to draw on the same strip that this dude did. Cause baby, that's commendable. I just gotta give it to him. That's commendable. Now, the robbing killers that think everybody gone to the upper room, they go hit the safe, right? And they get about $7,500. Now, it wasn't enough to just take the money and them people's lives. They also took a stack of weekly Metro bus passes. Come on now. They can get on the bus or they can sell them hoes or whatever. Greedy bastards. Y'all could have left the bus passes. I mean, well, here's the thing. What the robbers did know is that there were actually a couple of more employees working that night. One dude named Chris Hinkie, he was in the back stocking shelves with 2 other dudes when they heard the gunshots. So Chris, he peep around the aisle and he see his coworkers getting pistol whipped and strong arm. Shit. I don't know this for sure, but I feel like Chris got some black in him because he resisted the urge to do the shit the Mayonnaisians do to go see what's going on. Not Chris. Instead, he put his church finger up and dipped right on out the back door. Well, it wasn't a back door. This door led to the roof. So Chris is up on the roof, him and the other stock dudes. And when they got on the roof, they looking down and ain't nobody on the street at first, but eventually a woman comes walking by and he waving and hollering, saying, please, 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 please call 911. My coworker's in there getting frizzled and the men still in the store. Hurry, please call somebody quick. So, okay, Chris on the roof. And he's sending thoughts and prayers to his people still in the store and hoping and praying that 12 pull up expeditiously and save his ass. Come on, save the day, 12. Come on now. Woo, he got shot. Now, Chris, he relatively safe because he on the roof and he away from the action. I mean, he could see everything that's happening on the street, though, including when the gunman ran out of the store, jumped in their car, and took off. Now, mind you, they've been in the store for damn near an hour by now. Well, Harold, the dude that was playing dead, the store manager, Harold can't believe he's still alive. I mean, he is fucked up, make no mistake about it. But he still got a little fight left in him, right? Because he's still alive. Thank you, Jesus. So Harold, he crawled to a phone and he dialed 911. But he can't talk because he caught a bullet to the face and words ain't his ministry right now. He can moan though, but answering questions is out the question. So the operator cannot understand what he trying to say. But he just hold the line open and they tell him that help is on the way. So when the police pull up on the scene, y'all, it's bad. At the time, it was the worst mass killing the city of St. Louis had ever seen. They had the bodies of 49-year-old Rose Brown. She was the cashier that got cold cocked in the nose when they couldn't get that safe open quick enough for the robbers. Then there was 16-year-old Michael Marr. He was a bag boy. Come to find out, Michael Moore had tried to get off early that night, but they told him he couldn't leave, that they needed him. Boy, that's fucked up. That's one of them things where you need to use that PTO and be like, I'm gone. I ain't asking. I'm telling you I'm about this bitch. To avoid a massacre? Oh, my God. But, of course, he couldn't have known that at the time. But sheesh. Hindsight being 20/20 and all that, but you know, he ain't around to have no hindsight, so I guess you can't miss what you don't even know that you had. Anyway, that's not the point. The next person was 27-year-old Kenneth Bass. He was the janitor at the store. Then there was 34-year-old Michael Bean, who was the stock manager, and 27-year-old David Spahn, who was the security guard that they took his gun. Now, David didn't die on the scene. They was able to get him to the hospital, but he did die at the hospital, unfortunately. And then the last person was 42-year-old Richard Fortson. He was the service manager at the store, and he did survive the shooting at the time, but Richard couldn't get over the shooting. Like, it changed the trajectory of his life, which is understandable as fuck. I mean, that's a hella traumatic event. So while he lived his life, according to his friends and family, it stopped that night. And his body soon followed on to glory a couple of years later. They say he definitely was gone too soon. He just gave up. He just couldn't get past it. And then there was Harold Meyer, the store manager. Now, Harold was 30 at the time, kind of young. And you know, he must have had a praying grandmother, because he was in surgery for hours and hours and hours, like a Money Love song. And at the end of the day, it was one bullet that they couldn't get out. They had to leave a slug in his chest because it was just too close to some shit he needed, and if they fucked up, he was gonna really be fucked up. So Harold, he spent some time in critical condition, but he did make a full recovery, save for that slug sitting in his chest, right? So this is what happened at the store. Now let me tell you about the fuckery and foolishness that these YNs did after the robbing and the killing. Now I need you to stay with me now, because this is definitely some YN shit. Like, it's a little confusing, but we gonna get through it, okay? So that same night, one of the homies, dude named Philip Harden, he pull up to Donnie's younger brother house, James. Now, James ain't home, but Donnie, fresh off a robbery homicide, was at his brother's house. And this nigga Donnie is shooketh. He drinking and twitching and shit, running his mouth entirely too much. And he keep pulling out this gun too. And you know, Philip just going along to get along, you know, because unfortunately this ain't too out of the ordinary for some hood shit. But you see, that gun that Donnie keep flashing, it belonged to the security guard that they deleted just a few minutes ago. Marvin got his cut and he dipped. He ain't nowhere to be seen at the moment. A couple of days later, the same homie, Phil, he give Donnie a ride to his other brother, Leroy house. And they riding around and shit. But every time they pass a police car, this nigga Donnie start ducking and dodging and shit. So eventually Phil is like, nigga, what the fuck is you on? This nigga Donnie say, shit, we just did a robbery. Said that shit like it wasn't nothing. Okay, so now Phil know that you been involved in a robbery. And then a couple of days after that, Donnie gonna slide Phil $50 all in $1 bills. You already know what that means. This nigga either on the way to the strip club or you just robbed somebody that always keep a bunch of ones. All I know is your good can't hold water ass. You just had to show a nigga that you wasn't lying about that robbery, right? I always got to show and prove. Fuck showing and proving. Move in silence. If you pulling capers and shit, don't tell nobody shit. What they say, there will be signs. You may see signs that I done came up, but you ain't gonna know out my mouth that I came up. I'm just saying. But anyway, that ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about. Back to the story. Now, these niggas is out and about doing what they do, but meanwhile, chick named Sharon Lewis, that's Marvin's baby mama, she say Marvin popped up on her the day after the shooting. I'm talking about bright and early in the morning. And he say the reason he is there to pay back some of the money that he owed her. He shot her like $40, $60, something like that. And Sharon looking at this nigga side eye like, what the fuck you on? Cause just 2 days ago, your ass was brokey. And now you big Willie running my money back? Shit, the math ain't mathing, nigga. Now, mind you, the robberation and the killathon is all over the news, right? So people are starting to put one and one together and making two. Now, this dude, Donnie, he got a gang of brothers, so don't even try to keep up with all of them, right? But a couple of days later, Marvin and and Donnie was at Donnie brother Leroy's house. And they sitting around talking about heading to New Orleans for a funeral. One of the family members died. The funeral was that next day or whatever. So they're going to go down to New Orleans because it's so hot in St. Louis right now, right? So they go down to the funeral in New Orleans, get out of town for a couple of days. But instead of staying the fuck gone, they dumbasses come right back to hot-ass St. Louis. And when they come back, the niggatry continues. So they are back at Leroy's house, Donnie's brother. They chilling, watching TV. And a news story comes on about the National Supermarket murders. Donnie's good can't shut the fuck up ass say, we was in that shit. Now, Marvin, he ain't said a word, not one mumbling word, just sitting there looking. Because, again, too many people know about this shit. So you know what's going to eventually happen, right? This reminds me of O-Dog and that motherfucking robbery tape in Menace to Society. Y'all remember that? Kane didn't want the whole ass hood to know about that goddamn robbery tape. And O-Dog just couldn't keep his goddamn mouth shut. Well, Donnie, in this instance, is O-Dog because everybody he come across, he got to tell them that he was just robbing somebody. He just robbed somebody. That was me, nigga. They talking about me. Nigga, shut the fuck up is free, right? Because just like in the movies, you know you done fucked up, right? So about a week passes and Donnie goes back to Leroy's crib, his brother, right? But this time he got the gun and a plastic National Supermarket grocery bag. Inside the bag from this store that just got robbed and shot up, a whole ass rack in $1 bills, still wrapped and banded like somebody had just finished counting down the register and was about ready to make a deposit. And he got a couple of $100 in loose $1 bills. You just a big old dummy now, right? Just a big dummy. Come on, Fred Sanford. Now, this nigga Donnie, because everybody want to know, nigga, where you come up on this money from? Donnie talking about, we robbed the dope house. Okay, nigga, that was an unnecessary lie that don't nobody believe. Leroy was like, nigga, please, remember you were just over here the other day talking about you had hit a lick over there at that grocery store. And see, that's why shut the fuck up is free. It's free. You ain't got to pay nobody shit. If you just shut the fuck up, you ain't got to spend no money. That shit is free. Shut the fuck up is free, honey. Well, eventually, after Leroy sit there and look at him with one eyebrow raised, like, nigga, try again. He gone ahead and tell Leroy, yeah, man, we did that shit. We held up that National Supermarket grocery store. Now, mind you, even though Loose Lips Donnie has been running around telling everybody who got ears about the shenanigans him and his boy been up to, the police don't know shit. So we gonna fast forward a little bit to late September. Now, this was early September, Labor Day holiday weekend. Now we going into late September. And Donnie, he runs into his uncle, man named Jimmy Kennedy. Now, old can't hold water. He tell Uncle Jimmy, you know what, Unc, I got a gun if you need something to hold on to for protection. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, you talking about the same gun you took from a man that y'all shot and killed that's all over the news? That gun? Yeah, that gun. Only he didn't tell Unc where the gun came from. Then he hit Unc off with a little piece of change as a deposit on some work he needed done on his car. Now tell me when you known a broke nigga to prepay. For real? It's all you can do to get them to postpay after the work been done. He tell Unc, if you want the gun, it's at Leroy house. Okay. Well, a nigga don't turn down free shit, and Unc did indeed go get that piece be still. He rolled up to Leroy's house, grabbed the gun, and he kept it at his place for a couple of weeks until Donnie ass came back asking for his gun. And Unc was like, shit, it's at the shop. I'm going to bring it to you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want no smoke. It's your gun. You want it back? I'm going to give it to you. So Unc gets the gun, and he puts it in the trunk of his car so that when he ran into Donnie, he would have it. Okay, so pause right there for a minute. Let's go back to the grocery store. Now, we got 3 witnesses that can help police solve this crime. And I got to give it to the St. Louis Police Department. They was on their shit, kind of, sort of. Them motherfuckers went right out and snatched up 4 men and charged all 4 of them with murder. St. Louis Police Department, there was only 2 shooters in the store. Why y'all grab up 4? What, y'all just want to be on the safe side? You gonna have 2 in the hole? What y'all hedging your bets that out of 4 niggas, 2 of y'all got to be the goddamn criminals? Is that what we were on? Now, mind you, these 4 men that they done snatched up is not the mayhem makers who actually committed these crimes. These just 4 random black men that they done snatched up and pinned this crime on. So they show up at the hospital. They put a photo lineup in front of Harold. And Harold was like, who are these men? Because they wasn't the ones that was doing all the robbing and shooting. And St. Louis PD was like, Harold, you're stressed. These are the men. But Harold, he was standing on business, and he was like, no, the fuck they ain't. But St. Louis PD was not trying to hear none of that. As far as they was concerned, case was closed. The murderers were in custody. Well, as y'all know, we've been doing this true crime shit for a little piece of time now, and we know that you need some evidence. It's not enough to just snatch some niggas up off the street and you got a gut feeling that, oh yeah, these are the ones. They did that shit. And so when they got to investigating these 4 men, come to find out, every last one of them had an airtight alibi. You gotta let them go. So what the hell we gonna do now? I'm gonna tell you what they do now. A whole lot of nothing. A couple of months go by and the St. Louis Police Department don't have no suspects. Period. Point blank. And the peoples of St. Louis is pissed, and they are letting their feelings be known about the lack of somebody's head being on a platter for killing these people in the worst mass killing in St. Louis history. But then, in November, the Popo caught a break on a serious what are the chances kind of situation. See, what had happened was there was a blue 72 Ford Maverick that was pedal to the metal. And when the police pulled the car over for speeding, the driver, Jimmy Kennedy, that's Unc. Well, Unc couldn't provide no paperwork on the car that he was hot wheeling. So, of course, the police was like, probable cause, we finna search this motherfucker. And when they searched the car, guess what they found? They found the gun that Uncle Jimmy had put in the trunk to give back to Donnie, his nephew, remember? So, yeah, cops searching the car, they find that motherfucking gun. Now, Unc don't really know what to say. He ain't trying to get his nephew in no kind of trouble. You know what I'm saying? So he played the stupid game. He said he got the gun from some random nigga a long time ago. But you know, he's stuttering a little bit, trying to maintain. But, you know, the cops ain't trying to hear none of this shit. They take Uncle Jimmy down to the police station because they need to talk to him some more about this car and this gun that Unc don't know nothing about. But you know, Unc ain't no punk. He's standing strong in his lie that he got that gun off the streets. Bought it from a nigga that he don't remember who, but I just been had it. You know, I don't know the dude. I don't know what he looked like. I don't know his name. I don't know where he be at. It was just some random ass nigga I happened to run into. Okay, Unc. Well, let me tell you something. Them detectives, they did some sure enough fast ass detective work, and they find out that this gun that was in the car that Unc was driving like a bat out of hell with no paperwork is the gun that belonged to the security guard that got killed at the motherfucking grocery store. Ooh, you know you done fucked up now, right, Jimmy? Well, when they dropped that little piece of information on Unc, he get to remembering real good. Unc was like, hey, my nephew Donnie Blankenship, he gave me the gun. Oh, now you know this nigga government name now, huh? Yep, I bet the fuck you do. Ain't nothing like the possibility of being hit with a capital murder charge to help a motherfucker remember all the details. Shit, don't nobody want that kind of smoke unnecessarily. But they still holding Unc, because again, you got it, so you might be mixed up in this shit. Now that they got a name, Donnie Blankenship, St. Louis police, they look into Donnie. They find out that Donnie runs with a nigga named Marvin Jennings. And come to find out that Marvin Jennings, he worked at the grocery store just a week before the killations. Ooh, time to go have a little talk with Donnie and Marvin. Now, of course, they have put the word out that they got Unc hemmed up as a person of interest in the grocery store robbery and mass killation. And so the homie Philip, he see that shit on the news and he run straight over to Donnie brother James' house. And then him and James, they ride over to Marvin's girlfriend's house to see if Marvin's still around or if he done hit the road. And if he ain't hit the road yet, can Donnie hitch a ride with him? Because Donnie definitely got to get the fuck out of town now, right? Well, Marvin declined the company. He was like, I don't need nobody running with me. I can run by myself. Fuck that nigga. That's that young dumb shit, though. I got to tell you, it's too much running over here and running over there being around the fugitive. See, when you get a little piece of maturity on your ass, you run from where the criminals is hanging out because you got shit to lose. Ain't nobody got time for this bullshit. But you know, again, youngsters. So anywho, back to the story. So Philip and James, they go over to Leroy's house, and that's where Donnie is holed up at his brother's house. And they trying to see how much bread they can come up with to get Donnie the fuck out of town. And they gotta come together because remember, Donnie been out here paying everybody back and prepaying for work and shit. So all the robbery money is gone. He ain't got a quarter. And his brother James work at the Burger King and he get paid today. So the plan is they're gonna ride over there, they're gonna get his check and cash it, and then that was gonna be the money to get Donnie out of town. Now, no shade, but a Burger King check ain't gonna get you too far. I'm sorry, unless you the general manager or some shit like that. You working with a Burger King check and you a fugitive, you gonna need a check with 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 another check in order to get somewhere. That might get you, a couple of states over, but just one check for one week, 2 weeks, you ain't going too far on that. I'm sorry. That's not fugitive money. That'll probably get you one night at the day's end, and that's probably it. And don't ask for nothing to eat. You better get your bag of Burger King food before you go. But either way it goes, James couldn't get his check, so they all go back to Marvin's girlfriend's house to see if Marvin done left yet, and he is still here. Lord have mercy, the dumbasses. So they gonna all wait at Marvin's girlfriend's house while James go back to the Burger King to make somebody get him his goddamn check. Y'all gotta remember, this is the 80s. Ain't no such thing as a direct deposit. You had to wait till the manager brought them checks to the store. So James went over there to put some fire under somebody's ass to run me my motherfucking money, cause we got shit to take care of right now. At the same time, the Popo know about Donnie and Marvin at this point, and they also know where Marvin's girlfriend lives at, and that's exactly where the fuck they go. And it just so happened to be the same day and time when these fools was sitting here waiting on this Burger King check to show up. So the police, they pull up and they knock on the door, and Marvin and Donnie try to run out the back door. They ran right into the waiting arms of the St. Louis Police Department, arrested they ass right there on the spot, along with the girlfriend and the homie Philip and everybody else that was in the house, because y'all motherfuckers is aiding and abetting. Yeah, no good deed goes unpunished. No, sir. Well, at the station, as you can expect, the dimes, they start dropping. Oh, yes, motherfuckers, they snitching. Although it ain't snitching if you didn't have no parts of the crime. They just trying to keep their ass out of being an accessory after the fact or any of those things that could get them some time, right? And them, I'm talking about the girlfriend, the homie Phil, and Brother James, them. I'm saying they was in there singing like the rent was due. They told it all, as they should have. We didn't have shit to do with it. They popped up with some money. They started paying everybody back. They said they robbed the grocery store. They said they shot them people. I mean, they told it all. They bring in Harold. You remember the dude that played dead at the store? Well, Harold positively IDs Marvin as the trigger man. Oh, shit. Ain't nothing left now to do but to crank up the jury. And I'm going to tell you, I ain't even going to get into this slam dunk ass case. I'm just going to tell you how it ended. Marvin Jennings was convicted of 5 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of assault, and 1 count of robbery, as well as 8 counts of armed criminal action on September 12, 1988. They gave him life without the possibility of parole. He is inmate number 167754 at the Potosi Correctional Center in Mineral Point, Missouri. As for Donnie Blankenship, he was convicted of 5 counts of second-degree murder, 1 count of robbery, and 1 count of receiving stolen property in September of 1989. And for his troubles, they also gave his ass a life without parole sentence too. All because them niggas couldn't stop running their mouth. I don't advocate for how to get away with murder. There was a whole show on TV, and if you wanted to know how to do the shit, you should have watched it. But I'm just saying, if you out here doing dirt, shut the fuck up. Is free. It don't cost a thing. Just think, if they hadn't said a word to anybody, if they had thrown that gun in the river, this case would have gone unsolved because the St. Louis Police Department didn't have shit. No evidence pointing to nobody. Remember, they snatched up 4 random people off the street because that's how much of nothing that they had. They didn't have no suspects. But again, I guess you gotta love a dumb criminal. They told on themselves. They snitched on themselves. And I can't even say they. Marvin might have went and paid off a couple of bills and shot his baby mama some money, but he didn't tell nobody what he did. Donnie, with all these family members, he done went and told everybody what had happened, how it all went down, what his role was, who all was with him. He done told all the business. And because of that, Donnie is inmate number 169447, also at the Potosi Correctional Center in Mineral Point, Missouri. Donnie is 53 years old this year and ain't going nowhere no time soon. Now, moving on. Now, that was St. Louis, Missouri. Now, we are about to go across the pond because I was put on to a very interesting story. And as soon as I read it, I was like, oh, yes. I bumped somebody else off this story to put this person as a Melanin Mayhem maker. That goddamn Sharon Carr. Ooh, child, a whole ass mess. So let's get into it. Sharon Carr was born December 21st, 1979 in Belize. Now, her mama was Maria Carr. And baby, Maria wasn't no motherfucking joke. She didn't have no time for a nigga playing in her face. And if they did, Maria made sure they didn't play with her and nobody else no more. So she left Sharon's daddy when Sharon was just a little bitty baby. So Sharon ain't never known nothing about her biological father. She left him and she got with a Jamaican dude that was in the military. But you see, here's the thing. He might have been in the military, but Maria was beating his ass. I mean, he was low-key a DV victim for years. Him and her, in between the beatings, they had 2 kids together, and he also raised Sharon as his own child as well. So they lived in Germany for a little while before being stationed in the UK. We're talking mid-1980s. Now, Maria not only beat her husband, she was also team fuck them kids up too. Anybody could get it, and they say she was vicious with it. Like, Maria did not fucking play. And somewhere around 1986, her husband was like, I'm out. I'm gone, bitch. And he told her that he was leaving. Well, let me tell you something. Maria ain't the kind of chick you give a forewarning to. Oh, no, honey. You got to bounce on that hoe first. Fuck all. Anything that you ain't got with you, you just won't have. You just won't have that shit. Baby, old dude came home to pack a few things up, and when he walked in the door, do you know Maria, Sharon's mama, she threw boiling hot oil on that man, fried that nigga head, arms, and chest. Now, Lil Sharon, she was about 6 when all this went down, and when it's happening, she is right there in the midst of it. I'm talking about front row seat. She's smelling fried stepdaddy. And unlike many children who would have been freaked out by all of the emotions and the intensity of this situation, Lil Sharon stood there smiling, like watching a nigga cook on the floor wasn't nothing out the ordinary. Okay, I'm starting to paint a picture for you. Honey, do y'all know that Maria didn't even do no time for fricasseeing her husband? Child, they gave her probation and then told her to go hang out with the psychiatrist for 3 years if she liked. Please. She burnt this man crispity crunchity. And didn't get no time for it. Okay, UK. Well, crispity crunchity ended up divorcing Maria not too long after that. I would have divorced that ass too, shit. Now, up until she was around 8, Sharon was seen as a sociable child. But somewhere around 9 years old, that shit changed. And the reason I think it changed is because Sharon says that somebody raped her. And she told her people, but nobody didn't give a fuck. Maria, she was too busy practicing her voodoo shit to care. Yeah, she was a voodoo priestess and all of that shit. But what I don't understand is why the fuck she ain't put a root on whoever the fuck it was that molested her oldest child. And I don't know. I would have done that. I mean, I don't practice voodoo, but if I knew a few things, I'd have me a doll and stick some shit and, you know what I'm saying, make a nigga dick shrivel up or whatever. You know, if you're going to practice voodoo, at least make the shit work for you. Sharon also told a few other family members about what had happened to her, and basically she got the same kind of who gives a fuck response from all of them. And it's crazy because she's 9, a 9-year-old saying, I have been raped, and don't nobody give a fuck? Don't nobody want to raise the alarm? Don't nobody want to knock a bitch head off? Nobody? Nobody. And y'all, that fucked Sharon up. Like, I ain't saying I understand. I'm not saying that what is about to follow is right. I'm just saying Sharon is fucked up. She ain't the same no more. She has decided that from this point on, at 9 years old, that she gonna get payback by any means necessary and on anybody that she felt needed to be dealt with. So she started hanging out with older boys that was out here in these streets shenanigan. Oh yes, Maria didn't give a fuck what she did, so she was a free-range youngster on the streets of Camberley. And by the time her little ass was 11, she was a full-blown menace to society. I'm talking this heifer could boost cars, pick pockets, and fuck a bitch up. Like, to say Sharon was aggressive is an understatement. Sharon was cock diesel, a pit bull in a skirt, a whole-ass bully at fucking 11 years old. And you see, she was in school, but the school wasn't trying to put up with that kind of behavior. So they called her mama, Maria. They was like, Maria, you got to get your ass down here. We need a parent-teacher conference because we need to talk to you about Sharon's behavior. And when Maria got there, she was like, shit, I can't control her. I give up. And so the next thing you know, Maria gives Sharon to the system. Like, I'm done. Like, what is it when you drop the babies off at the fire station and walk away? Basically, Maria was like, you know what? I can't do nothing else with her. So she voluntarily put Sharon in foster care. And Sharon went to live with this lady. And I think February of 1992, baby, y'all know that shit didn't last but a hot-ass minute. And when I say a hot-ass minute, I'm talking less than a month. Before the foster lady put Sharon's ass out her house. She was on some, you ain't got to go home, but you finna get the hell up out of here. So she's back at Maria's house. And Maria was like, look, bitch, I ain't gonna say shit to you. Don't you say shit to me. Ain't that some shit to tell your own flesh and blood? Like, this is your child, your young child, and she's basically on her own. You want some don't ask me for nothing type of time. You want your child to just get out here and get it how she live. God damn, Maria. I can promise you, honey, you were never going to be a candidate for Mother of the Year. Not you, honey. And that's crazy because around the same time all of this is going down, Maria hooks up with a new dude. And new dude got 2 daughters that are the same age as Sharon. And they move in with Maria. And she being a mama to this nigga's kids, but you don't give 2 shits about your own? Can you make that make sense? I'll wait. Can you just somebody make that make sense to me? Sharon got teenage rage and neglect and abuse going on mentally, you know what I'm saying? And what she do? She take that shit out on the neighborhood pets. The pets. Oh, honey. Motherfuckers was coming home to find their dogs decapitated and shit. They say Sharon was in there frying up hamsters and shit. Like, Sharon, what the fuck? Cats and dogs stabbed and skinned up. The people in the neighborhood didn't know exactly who it was that was mutilating these pets because they never saw Sharon do it. But everybody felt like it was Sharon because she the neighborhood bully. This child that's 11, 12 years old. Like, what the fuck? Now, at this age, this child can stay out as long as she want, and she be out drinking and smoking and shenanigan with a group of older teenage boys. And you know, the only girl in a crew of dudes gots to be extra. And baby, Sharon was extra to the 10th power. Like, I'm telling you, she's the female Debo. And that's a bad day for anybody who had the displeasure of crossing paths with Sharon. Well, June 7th, 1992. 18-year-old Katie Ratcliffe is out at the bar. She living it up like a teeny bopper should be, right? She and her friends is partying and whatnot, but as the night go on, the club is packed and, you know, in some Caucasian shit, they lose track of each other and everybody go home assuming that everybody got a ride with somebody else. Well, Katie didn't have no ride. Everybody left her. So she out walking to go home. Well, all of a sudden, somebody blitzed Katie's ass. And when I tell you they opened up a super-sized can of whoop ass on her, ooh, Lord, I'm talking about dog walk Katie's ass. Baby, Katie was stabbed everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. All in her lady parts and shit. Like, who does that? I mean, there's stabbing and then there's mutilation. Katie was mutilated by a monster. She had been stabbed 29 times, everywhere from her face to her vagina and to her asshole. Like, how the fuck do you even do that? Like, I'm just saying, I ain't never stabbed nobody either. But to jug a bitch in they asshole, that's a special type of sadism. Like, that's heinous. Ooh, I'm clutching my pearls and my booty cheeks, because god damn, shit. Woo, shit. So the next morning, Katie is found by a couple of boys who been out camping, right? They walking and they find her naked, mutilated body, and they raise the alarm, and the police come and they immediately start looking for the man that did this heinous crime. Only y'all know, just like I know, it wasn't a man that did that shit. But it would take more than 5 years for the authorities to realize what we know now. But in the meantime, in between time, Sharon, she attended school. Even though she a wild child, she goes to school just like all the rest of the children do her age. And she goes to a school called the Collingwood College. Now remember, this is the UK. Using the word college just means school. It don't mean college, right? And we're talking 2 years from the date when Katie got sent to the upper room, June 7th, 1994. Sharon, who is now 14 years old, she go ape shit on a classmate that's a year younger. So what she did was she ran up on the girl and asked her to come in the bathroom with her because she had dropped some money and she wanted the girl to help her get it. The girl, who's again a year younger than her, so she's 13, she's like, sure, Sharon, I'll go help you. And she goes into the bathroom with Sharon, and the next thing you know, Sharon commences to jugging this girl with a 4-inch knife over and over and over again. Like, Sharon stuck this girl in her face, in her back, in her chest. She stuck her so hard in her chest that she collapsed her lung. Sharon ass would probably still be sticking her ass right now if it hadn't been for 5 students that ran up in the bathroom to see who the fuck was screaming their head off in that bitch. So they wrestle Sharon crazy ass to the ground and they hold her down. And I call her crazy because they say the whole time she jugging this girl, she just laughing and sniggling and giggling. Like, ma'am, you can't be laughing and jovial while you stabbing somebody. Can you at least frown, look mean? I mean, goddamn, like I said, crazy. And I mean, even while they got her on the ground, this little bitch happy. Like, ma'am, no, this is not normal. This is not normal. Well, Sharon is able to break free from the people that are keeping her off of this poor girl's ass, and she dips on them before any teachers, anybody can show up to get this shit straightened out. But girl, Sharon, you might have left the scene of the crime, but you do know they know it was you. Nigga. Ugh, whatever. This is young shit, because do y'all know the very next morning, Sharon was back at school like nothing had happened. I mean, you hanging around in the courtyard talking to your friends and shit, shooting the shit. Like, everybody in the school don't know that you just attacked and stabbed somebody yesterday. Girl, you supposed to be laying low, hiding out. Instead, you at school on time, before time, trying to go to homeroom like you ain't just tried to gut a bitch yesterday. Shug. I'm sure that falls squarely under the zero tolerance violation. I'm sure it does. Well, as you can imagine, the police come and they snatched her little ass right on up and took her to where they take the juveniles when they crashing out. But baby, the crash out hadn't even begun yet. No. Baby, when they got Sharon to where they call the assessment center, baby, damn if she didn't try to strangle 2 of the goddamn staff members. God damn. Now, mind you, she's 14 years old and going toe-to-toe with adults. Debo, bully in a skirt, pit bull. I'm trying to tell you now, I am so not playing with Sharon. Is no fucking joke. Well, they keep her, to do their assessing and all that. And that December, she was formally charged with 2 counts of actual bodily harm, and they gave her 2 years in baby prison. Well, the whole time she in baby prison, she was kicking ass and taking names. So they move her from the baby prison to a psych hospital for women. Baby, she was in there terrorizing them people something serious, because do you know that they transferred her out of the psych hospital to an all-boys unit at what was called the Cliff Secure Center, aka maximum security prison for boys that can't go nowhere else? But let's pause for a minute and unpack this, y'all, because first of all, she go to baby prison, and they can't handle her. They think she batshit crazy, so they send her to a psychiatric hospital with the professionals that know how to deal with people that have mental disease or defects, right? They can't handle her. Mind you, she's only 14. She has stressed and assaulted these people so much that the psychiatrists say send her to the super maximum prison for boys. For boys. Boys! Sharon is a whole ass girl. Y'all sent one female to be housed with nothing but dicks? A child at that? And no, she did not identify as male or any of that bullshit. It was just that the powers that be felt that that was the best place for her. Now that don't make no sense to me at all. I mean, but that's where Sharon went. And guess what? They couldn't handle her ass over there either. Woo, child. I keep trying to tell y'all, Sharon Carr wasn't no motherfucking joke. The boys, Supermax, they passed her on to the Bullwood Hall Young Offenders Institution in 1995 because they found out that she was not only beating up the boys and the staff, she was also going to pound town too. Duh. I mean, if you put a vagina in a house full of dick, somebody gonna get fucked. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Well, Sharon is now at Bullwood, and it's more of the same. But the prison officials at Bullwood are actually paying more attention to Sharon instead of just being intimidated by her. And they find some of the shit that she say and do is disturbing as fuck. Like, Sharon was around here bragging and shit about a murder that she did 4 years ago to a chick named Katie Ratcliffe. And when I say bragging, I mean Sharon is talking about this crime to everybody. I'm talking about they got recorded conversations with her talking to her mom about what she did, her cousins, other inmates at the facilities, and then there's a CO that she got a little crush on, and she telling him how she done gensued up Katie. So Bullwood immediately calls the police because everybody know that the authorities are still looking for Katie's killer. Now, they're doing the math. Sharon would have been 12 years old. They think maybe that this is a mental thing and she is just claiming a crime. But again, let's be safe than sorry. You know what I'm saying? Because she is a bully and she is a menace. And so the police, they come and they confiscate Sharon's shit. They got her diary. Well, that bitch is full of details about Katie's killation. Shit that the police didn't release to the public that only the killer could know. They was confused and befuddled. You mean to tell me that a 12-year-old girl killed Katie? Katie that was mutilated and sexually assaulted so bad that we thought it had to have been a man that killed her? And it was a child? Yes, that's exactly what they saying. Baby, when the news hit the street, it just exploded. They started calling Sharon, her nickname that they gave her was the Devil's Daughter. Ooh, honey. And her diary pages, they were leaked. And ooh, God, it had all kind of satanic shit written in it, along with some of Sharon's deepest desires to kill as many motherfuckers as she could. Let me run down for y'all just a couple of her diary entries just to give you a little taste of just how gone Sharon was as a child. Here's one. It says, last night it occurred to me that killing her did me good. Now I know what I'm capable of, and I will do it again. She also wrote, killing is a mass turn on for me. It just makes me so high, I don't ever want to come down. If only I could kill you again. I promise I would make you suffer more this time. Your terrified screams turned me on. Every night I see the devil in my dreams. Sometimes even in my mirror, but I realize it's just me. I am a killer. Killing is my business, and business is good. I bring the knife to her chest. Her eyes are closing. She is pleading with me, so I bring the knife to her again and again. I don't want to hurt her, but I need to do violence to her. I need to overcome her beauty, her serenity, her security. There, I see her face when she died. I know she feels her life slowly drawn from her. I hear her gasp. I guess she's trying to breathe. The air stops at the back of her throat. I know all her life her breathing has worked, but it does not now, and I am joyful. She needed to be raped. That showed her well. I mean, she's not only writing this just in her diary, but she is also writing letters to her family and friends saying this shit. Like, Sharon is not trying to hide the fact that she's a killing killer who killed, and she liked that shit. And the minute she get another chance, she gonna do that shit some more. Oh, baby. Do y'all feel me when I say this motherfucker was a whole ass menace? Okay. By the time 1996 rolls around, when she's 17 years old, she's still telling everybody about how she killed Katie. And the police finally accept the fact that it wasn't a man that killed Katie. It was Sharon. And so they charged her little ass with murder. And by doing that, they made Sharon the youngest person ever charged with murder in the UK by virtue of her age when the murder happened, being 12 years old. Now, they took that shit to the Crown Court at the end of February 1997, and the Crown, or the prosecution, that's what we would call them here, they didn't have a shred of physical evidence. No forensics at all. All they had were Sharon's own words that they used against her. And baby, on March 25th, 1997, they convicted her ass. When Judge Baker sentenced Sharon, he told her, quote, "What is clear is that you had a sexual motive for this killing. It's apparent both from the brutal manner in which you mutilated her body and the chilling diary entries that killing, as you put it, turns you on. You are, in my view, an extremely dangerous young woman." End quote. Yeah, that's an understatement of the year, honey. He sentenced her to the juvenile equivalent of a life sentence with at least 14 years to serve. At that point, that made Sharon go down in history as the youngest person convicted of murder ever in the UK history. Prolific, I tell you. Now, while Sharon getting her life sentence, she up in that bitch smiling, sniggling, and giggling. Unbothered than a motherfucker. Well, now she goes back to prison. I mean, she was already in prison. Now she go back to prison. And we start playing prison tag one more time. She started off at the Holloway, which is a psych unit. They diagnosed her with schizoaffective, emotionally unstable personality disorder. Okay, so now this bitch is certifiable. She got her official papers to monkey stomp a bitch now, right? And get away with the shit. That's what you're saying. Okay. Well, Holloway, they said that she was too much for them. We can't be putting up with her. Even at the psych hospital, boy, all we do is deal with crazy motherfuckers. We can't deal with her. So they transferred her to Broadmoor Hospital in 1998. She wore their ass out at Broadmoor. On the regular, somebody caught them hands or an attempted shanking or strangulation. I mean, you never knew how Sharon was going to pop off. And that was at both the staff and the inmates. Anybody could get it at any time. Well, a little time passes, and the next thing you know, it's 2001. Y'all tell me why Sharon done got engaged to another inmate at Broadmoor. Yes, I know. Them inmates don't have no trouble finding the lid to their pot, do they? I'm saying, we talked about this. Now, Sharon, she is engaged to a dude named Robert Lane, and Robert, he in Broadmoor because he killed his mama, beat her to sleep, then gouged her eyes out. A lovely chap, right? That's a match made in hell right there. Well, what's funny is that they ended up calling off the wedding. And I'm going to tell you why. It's kind of funny when you think about it. Apparently, they read the newspaper accounts of the crimes that each other had committed, and they were shocked and appalled and had the nerve to be disgusted at the depravity of the crime the other committed. And so they didn't want to have anything to do with somebody who could do something like that. Sharon, this nigga killed his mama and gouged her eyes out. That was too much for you. But you done raped the bitch with a knife. all up in her lady parts and her booty hole. And that was too much for him. Both of y'all need Jesus. That's all I'm going to say, because that's niggatry. And it's also the pot calling the kettle black, because both of y'all too twisted for color TV and got the nerve to be acting like I would never. If you don't get the fuck out of here, both of y'all. Both of y'all. Well, Sharon's defense lawyers, they filed all kinds of motions and appeals over the years. Like in 2004, they wanted her conviction overturned. They said that she should have been charged with manslaughter instead of murder. And the courts was like, nope, next. In 2007, they tried to see if Sharon had some act right in her. Do you know how to act now? So they transferred her from the maximum security mental institution where she was at to a medium security prison. In 2015, they sent that ass back to the maximum. Well, in 2020, Sharon was like, hey, I want to have some more freedom. Y'all playing me too close, and I'm going to need to at least get some yard passes or something, because the minimum for my sentence was 14 years, and I done 23 like a G. Y'all need to come back up off me. And the court was like, the fuck? And deemed her too crazy to let back into society. Thank you, court. I'm glad somebody on their job. Because, girl, really, do you actually think that somebody is going to let you have anything freedom related when you still up in prison talking about how you fantasize on killing bitches in your cell? Girl, bye. I'm going to tell you, Sharon might have been a good salesman because she don't take no for an answer, honey. And she ain't got nothing but time, so she keep at it. And next up, the defense team hit them with a judicial review request for the decision that kept her on killer cuckoo crazy maximum status. And they was like, review request denied. We ain't fucking with you. And then in 2022, she was like, fuck it. She filed another request. This time, she asked for either a full release or an open prison. Now, when I heard the term open prison, I had an idea what that was. But, I went to Google University right quick. And yes, it's exactly like what it sounds. Think halfway house. They sleep there, but they be outside unattended during the day, to come and go as they please. And Sharon's psychotic ass say she ready, and it's about time for her to go from maximum security to the minimalist of security. And she also timed this request to happen right before she had a parole board hearing in October. Well, I got to tell you, that was in 2022, and as of today, Sharon is still locked up in the maximum security. Oh, yes. And there seems to be no plans to let that ass out anytime soon. And I gotta say, I agree with that shit. Don't let that hoe out. Shit. Let her stay exactly where she is, because Sharon Carr is crazy. And if she has the opportunity to get out again, she gonna hurt somebody real bad. So that, Noir Nation, was the story of Sharon Carr, the youngest person convicted of murder in the UK. Whew, child. These young people need Jesus. I mean, we started out with Dumb and Dumber on some fucked up mass killing stupidity and ended with Sharon, who appears to literally be the spawn of Satan. And like I said in the opening, I felt like we should talk about these cases because I don't want us to get lulled into a false sense of security or something, or this false myth that adults are the only ones that commit heinous crimes. Because I don't know if y'all remember Craig Price. I did a story on him, the youngest serial killer in U.S. history. He was 13 when he set it off in 1987. Halfway around the world, here goes Sharon at age 12, cutting somebody water off just 5 years later. Also making history as the youngest to be convicted of murder. Both of y'all young as fuck. Also, both of them black. Both killers without the slightest hint of remorse. Prolific history-making killers, I tell you. Now, they can't vote or buy a drink legally, but they out here killing. And they aren't the only ones. I mean, think about it. In the 80s, early 90s, there was some semblance of respect, for the most part, from the youth in anybody's country, right? I mean, there will always be exceptions to the rule, right? But for the most part, teenagers, young adults, whatever you want to call them, those 8 to 25, they fuck with each other, but they respected their elders and they talk some shit, but when you show them authority, they back down. And again, of course, there are exceptions to the rule, But for the majority did what was supposed to be done. But when you fast forward to today, where the kids will Call of Duty your ass without batting an eyelash and then put the shit on social media, all I'm saying is watch your back, New One Nation. And if you or somebody you know is raising a spawn of Satan, stop sweeping that shit under the rug and acting like this motherfucker ain't dangerous. If you scared, we should all be scared. And we should all know we need to be scared of your little menace to society. I mean, I know everybody's kids are perfect little angels, right? Wrong. Just like there are ugly babies out here, we have got to stop lying to ourselves about what's really going on with our people. Our nieces, our nephews, our cousins, our kids, our brothers, our sisters, our uncles, our aunties, when we know them motherfuckers is throwed the fuck off. You don't fuck with them. Why we got to fuck with them? I'm just saying. We have got to stop lying to ourselves about what's really going on with our people. Because it only makes it worse after the fact, after the killing, after the raping, after the robbing. You know, when your kid's picture is all on the screen talking about wanted in connection to a blank. You know what I'm saying? Now everybody looking at you like you should have done more. Oh, now you want privacy. Now you want to say it wasn't that bad. Now you want to say you didn't see the signs. We have got to wake up and have these hard conversations, man, to do the thing that's best for the community rather than our ego. Okay. I'm going to put my soapbox up. I'm going to put it up. Y'all know how I get sometimes. We can finish this discussion online. You can hit me up on IG, YouTube, X, Facebook, wherever you at. I'm probably there too. And if you somewhere that I'm not, tell me about it. I come. You know I don't have no problem coming to wherever you are, booby. I am Melanin Mayhem Podcast or Melanin Mayhem PC. Just start typing Melanin Mayhem and you're going to see that pretty black and white logo. If you haven't locked in to getting down with the discussion group, man, stop procrastinating and get on the good foot. They get all the good shit first. And we be over there cutting up a little bit. You know, it's private, so you ain't got to worry about nobody being all up in your business or whatever. And if email is more your thing, then let it fly over there at melaninmayhempodcast@gmail.com. Now, don't forget, if you're in Atlanta next month on June the 7th, I am hosting a free event at the Auburn Avenue Research Library downtown on Auburn Avenue. We're going to do our first community chat. And the topic is the Atlanta child murders and the role of Wayne Williams. Again, it's free for everybody, so come on down and let's shoot the shit a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And also, if you have not checked out my homies in the BTCC, I'm talking about the Black True Crime Collective, you slipping a little bit and you need to get on it. You got to check out Melanin Mysteries and Not My Brother's Keeper and A Sip of Red Rum, honey, because they bring you the stories of all kinds of shenanigans done by our people just like me. We all get in the kitchen and whip that thing up differently, so there's a little something there for everybody's discerning palate. And I also got to tell you, I got merch. And the discussion group is going to get the first announcement probably on Sunday. I'm still playing catch up and I got to get this week's episode of Love Kills ready as well. And my regular life stuff. My grandbaby is here for the summer and it's really challenging my time management skills. She is dying to get on the podcast with her nana. And you know I'm a letter. She will be making her debut at some point. You know, I had to confer with my people because I'm like, am I scarring my grandchild for life if I let her get on the mic with me? I do a true crime podcast. And y'all, she is so ready. I mean, she is 6 going on 61. I'm telling y'all, the little girl been here before. I had left my laptop open on an article for Love Kills and I walk in and she is reading it. I mean, like reading and comprehending. And she had thoughts on what she had read. I was not ready. I was elated that she was reading like a champ, a newspaper. I was also like, oh my God, what am I doing? Because I want to keep her innocence for as long as humanly possible. She got all the time in the world to see that there are monsters among us. But then, thinking like that, I am stopping her from staying safe, staying vigilant, and keeping ready. I'm just saying, y'all pray for me because Lord have mercy. Decisions. But y'all gonna hear from my grandbaby. Understand that. This week's New Orleans Nation shout out goes to my homie, 7 the Panther over there at Panther Politics. He had thoughts on Marcus Wesson, the cult man. 7 said, the platinum voice does it again. Nobody delivers like you. This one had my head spinning. And I got to tell you, several of y'all was thoroughly disgusted with that motherfucker. Not only 7 the Panther. If you haven't checked out Panther Politics, make sure you check them out there everywhere you listen to, honey. And I gotta tell y'all, several of y'all was thoroughly disgusted with Marcus Wesson. I'm still getting comments and shit about his nasty cult ass. Ugh, gross. We not even gonna get him no more airtime. Anyway, I also want to shout out Nikisha Christian, who suggested Sharon Carr in the discussion group. Thanks, Nikisha. Honey, once I read the story, I had to do it. So please, y'all, keep them coming. Please, if you set them up, I promise you I will knock them down. All right, I gotta go. But I'll be back in 2 short days with the latest episode of Love Kills. Until Friday, you know the routine. I need you to be safe. I need you to stay vigilant. And remember, above all else, if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. It's one love, New One Nation, and the country girl is out of here.